Hello viewer, it's been a long time. The title of this video is My Jehovah's Witness Mother Has Disassociated Me, which is what has happened. Yes, because yesterday I got a letter in the post from my mum, who's still an active Jehovah's Witness, basically disassociating me and cutting off any association. If you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you probably don't understand what that means, what the ramifications of that are, but it's quite simple. For those who don't know, I was a Jehovah's Witness for 28 years, from about the age of 10 or whatever it was, or 9, I can't remember, 10, 11, and around about 19 years ago I left the organisation, realising that it can't be the truth, despite them always saying that they are the truth, and that I didn't believe that God was working with that organisation. In fact, I don't believe he's working with any organisation, to be honest with you, but anyway, that's a different story. And if you leave Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, there's 3 ways to go. One, you get disfellowshipped for breaking the rules. One, you write a letter and say that you no longer want to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses, you disassociate yourself. Or number 3 is you just fade away. And I faded away. I literally stopped going, moved, and carried on, my life, as it were. And I forgot, I'm not saying I forgot about all those years being a witness, because I didn't, but I did figure out all these being a witness. And I literally lost contact with all the people that I knew. Because unfortunately, if you're Jehovah's Witness and you're disassociated or disfellowshipped, your former friends and family will have nothing to do with you at all. An example of this is that if I was disfellowshipped or disassociated, and I was on the bus and there was only one spare seat next to me, and a Jehovah's Witness came onto the bus who knew that I'd been disfellowshipped or disassociated, would prefer to stand up than sit next to me, because they wouldn't want to be in that an uncomfortable situation sitting next to somebody who has been disfellowshipped for wrongdoing, or has made it known they no longer want to be a Jehovah's Witness. It's as serious as that. And that stance has not changed. For instance, 2 years ago in a district convention in Jehovah's Witnesses, there was a video of somebody who was asked by, they'd had sex outside marriage or got pregnant, I can't remember what it was, and their mum and dad asked them to leave the home. They got because they got disfellowship because they didn't show forgiveness for the act. And there was a scenario where the mother's phone rang when she was in the kitchen chopping up onions, I think it was, and the phone rang and it obviously came up on colour display, disfellowshipped daughter, and the mum looked at it and just put the phone down. So in other words, that's an official video from Jehovah's Witnesses saying this is what you do to children who've disfellowshipped. You basically ask them to leave the home, and then you cut them off from your life, even when they ring you. And that call could have been about anything. It could have been, I've got cancer. I'm in somebody's car. I'm uncomfortable because I don't know where we're going. I've had a terrible accident. I'm getting married. It could have been about anything. Or did you see EastEnders last night? I don't know. But eventually the mother rejected the call. So that's how serious it is if you get disfellowshipped or disassociate yourself from Jehovah's Witnesses. If, unlike me, though, you fall away, it's different, because Jehovah's Witnesses, if they wanted to, could still speak to me. I could still speak to them about the sun and the moon and the stars. And the relationship that I've had with my mother, I've still been able to speak to her. Even though she actually moved, I live in Scotland, but she moved up to a place called the Isle of Lewis, it's a hell of a journey even from where I am. I think you're like 4 hours on a ferry for a kick-off, and you've got to drive up to Isle of Skye or somewhere else to get over it. It's just, I could get to Greece and back quicker than go to there. So I hardly ever saw her, but now she's back in Ellesmere Port, and I've been seeing her about maybe 3 times a year, spending, going down there, taking my son down there and spending time with her, taking out for dinner or whatever, calling her infrequently. And the thing is with my son is, is the only grandchild she has any relationship with, because she does have 4 other grandchildren to my other brother, to my brother, but they were all witnesses, and basically they've all fallen away. One's disfellowshipped in New Zealand, one's joined the army, lives 2 hours away from me, and the other 2 are still miles away on the Isle of Lewis. And even though I think my mum was there in the summer, I don't think she visited her own grandchildren. I could be wrong there, but I don't think she did. Because they're engaged in like a anti-witness lifestyle and immoral lifestyle of drinking and recreational drugs and probably sex, but definitely sex. And she doesn't have anything to do with them. But my son is in university, I bring her down, so she's the only one she's built up a relationship with at all. And that's the way it's been. That's the way it's been. Now, the wee witness life I left behind a long, long time ago. And then all of a sudden with social media, lots of things started cropping up in Facebook or YouTube, whatever, relating to Jehovah's Witnesses. And I became, I got interested in it again. But seeing how the organisation had changed in the 19 years I'd been away. And it had changed extraordinarily. I couldn't believe it. And I also thought, you know what, I have a story to tell. And I related a story on video of my experiences, especially in the Rutherglen congregation in Glasgow, of basically the abuse, the sort of mental abuse that I suffered at the hands of the elders in there because of my stance on music. Because in the loose term of the phrase, I am a musician and I write music and record music. But for that I was given a really, really hard time because I didn't toe the line, and you're not allowed to have any express yourself in those ways if you're a witness. So I received a terrible time. So I put up a video. Now I don't know how this happened, but my brother watched that video. And my mother watched that video, and they had no inkling of what happened when I was in Glasgow, and so they both rung up and decided to apologise to me on behalf of the elders and the congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses, thinking that was the reason why I'd stopped going. But it wasn't. That happened. I then continued on the witnesses for years and years and years. It was only with the changing doctrine that I eventually fell away. Nothing to do with what the elders had done to me, because that's the way it is. In the Jehovah's Witnesses movement, you believe that God directs the Jehovah's Witness organisation, and through the elders in the church or the Kingdom Hall, you follow their leading direction. So I never ever fell away because I disagreed with their viewpoint. I disagreed eventually with changes in the belief structure of Jehovah's Witnesses, which is why I left. So they were apologising for what happened, but it wasn't going to change me. And then once I got a flavour of putting up videos, I thought I'd do more videos of things in the Bible really, really never made any sense to me. And I put up examples, and I still have loads to do, of where examples in the Bible, instead of demonstrating a God of love, actually demonstrate completely the opposite. And obviously my mum must have seen some of these videos, because she said to me, in the summer when I was out walking the dog, unfortunately we don't have the dog anymore, he's gone sadly, and I was speaking to her, and she says, you are putting me and your brother in a difficult situation. And I said, well, why is that? It says, because you're turning into an apostate. Now if you don't know what an apostate is, you can always Google it, but anyway, it means turning your back on your own beliefs. And then maybe then saying the reason why you've turned your back on them. But and I said to her, oh, by the way, as if that's the case, is Jehovah's Witnesses today are apostates, because if the original leaders of the witnesses, and we're not going back 2,000 years ago or 4,000 years ago, we're only going back just over 100 years ago, if the original leaders of the organisation came back now, this current organisation of Jehovah's Witnesses and what they believe is completely different to the one they would have been in. They'd think that the organisation had turned apostate because they'd rejected a lot of the teachings that they believed and printed and distributed and had sermons on. the witnesses have gone and rejected a lot of their early beliefs and teachings, and even teachings only going back like 40, 30 years ago have been changed, never mind the ones going back to 50, 75 and 100 years ago. So I gave that example. So well, hold on, the whole organisation has actually changed their beliefs, and can turn their back on those and then describe why they were wrong. Although in the witness term they called it being a refinement, whatever, or new light. So I said that to her. Anyway, I just said to her, look, this is a problem with the witnesses that I find, is it says you put your religion before your family. And I says your religion should not come between the relationship we have. But unfortunately now it's come to that stage. Now we are at that stage. Where it has I haven't put up any more videos, but she's obviously looked on them again. She's obviously been to the district conventions in the summer, and she has now decided to view me as somebody who has disassociated themselves or been disfellowshipped. And I will read you what she says. So basically we've got a long letter here. All witnessy things, really, all we witness it stuff. And she goes on to say, after bits of things she's been doing in the summer, she goes on to say, it says, it is with the greatest sadness that I heard you have denounced your faith, my faith, and have described it as a dangerous sect, which I believe it is. The last time we spoke, I warned you that you were in danger of becoming an apostate. Your reply was, more like Jehovah's Witnesses or the apostates. Well, that's true. Just remember that bit. Your video of condemnation with the warning to others to have nothing to do with us is like a stab to the heart. Even if you cannot recant your words, can you please remove videos from display? I don't think so. I feel deeply hurt because of your accusations. Do you remember recently that my brother and myself apologised to you personally for the way in which unworthy elders have treated you in the past? That's funny, that means the whole congregation was unworthy. Well, we'll skip on those things. And most of them are still elders in that hall. I'm sure that Jehovah and Jesus would want you to return to them. Here we go. We all care for you very much. I love you deeply, but sadly after much praying and inner searching, I have to come to a decision. While you still hold your present thinking and the steps you've taken to besmirch the name of the organisation to which I hold dear, I will not be able to offer the hospitality of my home. It is with much regret that I also have to say that any shared activity must now be put on hold. Don't know what that means actually. Important family matters, of course, can be communicated. Oh good, we can always ring each other up and advise if one of us has got cancer or dead. It is with a heavy heart I have to write these words to you. I will certainly miss your visits, your company, and that of my dear grandson Benjamin. But my belief is that the organisation to which I belong is the one alone which recognises and worships the great God Jehovah and is sincerely searching for the truths in his words to us. And we who share a worldwide brotherhood are really trying, despite our human imperfections, to live our lives according to the scriptural directions of our Heavenly Father. Because of our great concern to witness an end to the terrible scenes which are happening on our planet, we can make errors in the scale of matters. Now, this is interesting because this is why I left the witnesses. It says, but we believe that Jehovah will reveal his truths in his own perfect time, will act on our behalf. Now you see, this very statement here is what the witnesses are all about. They have time and time again given time frames when Armageddon, let's not mince our words here, Armageddon. And Armageddon, for those who don't know what the witnesses believe, is quite simple. God very shortly anytime soon. It's just around the corner, is going to descend to the earth. Well, not descend, anyway. He's going to let his son Jesus, in a nutshell, kill everybody on this planet, unless you're a Jehovah's Witness. Every faith is going to be wiped out apart from Jehovah's Witnesses. All the Muslims and Buddhists and Hinduists and Christians, Seventh-day Adventists, Baptists, Mormons, Church of Scientology, Catholics, Protestants, you name it. If you belong to any of these faiths, despite you being a really good person with just good things in your heart and whatever it is, or lived an exemplary lifestyle, God is going to kill you. Sorry, because you've rejected that one time when the witnesses came to your door and offered you the Watchtower week, or the one time that you were walking up the pavement and you noticed the two strange dudes freezing with these odd-looking coats and magazines, and they never stopped you. They never stopped you in the middle of the street and says, hold on, pal. If you don't listen to what I have to say right now, if Armageddon comes tomorrow, so my message now is life and death. In other words, just stand there at the side, don't do bugger all, and you just walk past them like this, like I'm at camera. One back again. That sort of thing. So that's what that's saying. So in other words, that is what the Jehovah's Witnesses believe. They believe that, we're all going to die. The problem is they keep on predicting when this great cataclysmic event is going to happen. And they've time and time again got those dates wrong. Which is why I left, because it dawned on me that if God really and truly was using an organisation, he would make sure they got it right the first time, not the 8th time. And so she uses this excuse that the witnesses use themselves, that we can make errors in the timescale of matters, but believe that God will reveal the truths in his own time. Well, that's good, isn't it? So in other words, this is the problem I have. Because if you come out and make a statement and say, this is going to happen in that time scale, and this is the truth, and then all of a sudden that time goes past when it's supposed to happen and nothing happens, that means it wasn't the truth. And as my song says, which is on YouTube, everybody, in other words, that makes the truth was lies. In other words, yes, it was. The opposite of truth has to be lies. So in other words, the truth was lies. So basically, it's just an excuse, because if God really and truly was using this organisation, he would ensure that they'd provide accurate information all the time, not have to wait till times have passed, eventually scratch it and go, I think we'd have a rethink on this one. So anyway, sorry, that's just an excuse. So anyway, she goes on. We long to have you and your little family back with us and in safety as this world falls apart. Now honestly, let's be honest with you. I'd rather live my life in 2018 as it is now, where I have the freedom relative freedom to, fly most parts of the world without it being a problem and in safety. I'd rather live now than in 1939 to 1945, where going to anywhere in Europe might have been a bit of a bomber to fly to these places, for your holidays, because of something called Nazis and Germans and all the rest of it, called World War II. And in fact, I wouldn't have fancied going to the Pacific either because of what was going on over there either. I'd rather live now, and I'd wouldn't have fancied going on my holidays to France between 1914 and 1918 either. Definitely not. So the world falling apart, honestly, this at the moment, we are wrecking the planet at an unprecedented scale, but we're also, in the Industrial Revolution, we weren't too clever then either. And when of course a volcano, it blows up and pumps all this shit all into the air, that's more pollution than man can ever do in a lifetime. So let's be honest with you, the world, this is just another witness thing here where they just go, the world's falling apart, there's horrible things happening, there's wars going on, but honestly, if you go in the history of man, people have been tortured, murdered and all these things on an unprecedented scale for years and years and years, and probably round about this time, we're just doing it more efficiently, killing more efficiently. We've always been like this. So she goes on to say, please pray to Jehovah for understanding and discernment. Seek his forgiveness. You're presently like a little lost lamb who's gone astray. Well, actually not. I'm just decided not to be a sheep and follow a shepherd who's basically taking us from one field to another field, promising that the field that's actually the really nice field over the hill, but we never get over the hill. So I'm to freely ask for his Holy Spirit to guide you onto the path of righteousness leading to everlasting life. Right, okay, this everlasting life thing, if you're not a Jehovah's Witness, you don't understand, is that when Armageddon comes, that basically all the survivors will not die. Eventually the earth's going to be transformed into paradise and everybody's in it's going to live forever. But in another video I demonstrated this is a complete illusion. Because even if man would live forever in a paradise earth, the fact is we're still men. And we, well, humans, and we will still have the same traits that sort of dodged us. If you believe Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, those same traits have always dodged us, whereupon we will look at somebody else's wife and say, my God, she's she's a lot better looking than my wife. Or would look at somebody else's house and say, flipping it, look at that, look at that lovely porch, you know, that sort of thing. There's always going to be, within humans, this thing called jealousy. And jealousy, I don't want to call Yoda here, but jealousy does lead men to do some horrible, horrible things. So when you look at the first humans, you know, we saw what the desire to do something, jealousy over this is always going to be what we're like, because that's where even perfect angels in heaven saw on the earth and desired something which they shouldn't have. So that's perfect angels. So in other words, you can't get this away unless we all become like Data out of Star Trek, where we have the emotional chip taken out of us. We're always going to have these feelings. So this paradise in earth, it can't happen unless you fundamentally change up our makeup. But apparently we can't, because we're made in God's image, and as we know, God is a jealous God, so we've got no chance. So anyway, it says, may I please welcome you back with open arms, my dear son Terry. I'll always love you, your sad mum. So that's it. So in other words, my mother has written to me to let me know that's it. She has no contact with her 4 other grandchildren, and now, since I only took Benjamin down with me, she's not going to see him either. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened, what was recently happened, the district conventions, the witnesses, but obviously something's triggered in her mind and said, this is the way I need to go, despite me not being disfellowshipped or disassociated officially in any matter. She now will not welcome me into her house, which is it's a shame in many respects, because my mum is quite elderly. You know, she's in her 80s, and once you reach your 80s, you know that your time on this planet is significantly reduced. So I have other relatives of mine whose parents are no longer here and would love the opportunity to have more time with their parents. And here's my own parents deciding that she no longer wants anything to do with me. You know, even some parents whose sons are thieves or have got a bad drug habit, and every time they go into the house, they go out and nick something to feed their habit. You know, and sometimes you have parents who just will ban them from coming to the house, but we'll always have time for them. Well, apparently, you know, I'm worse than this, you know, even though I've never gone to my mum's house and robbed anything in my life, you know. It's just really odd. The irony behind this is the irony behind this, the irony of ironies, right? It's because with Jehovah's Witnesses, you're not baptised when you're young and now you're like a Catholic, like a wee baby. Allegedly, they allow you to mature as a person, to make an informed decisions, to dedicate your life. And when you dedicate your life as a Jehovah's Witness, you know what the rules are. You know if you leave, these are going to be the consequences of leaving or breaking the rules. The problem is that if you're brought up as a youngster Jehovah's Witness, you're just brought up. You are influenced by everything, your family, your friends, and you're brought up. And when you come to a teenager, you get bothered by peer pressure. They said it to me, haven't you thought of getting baptised? And a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses only get baptised in their teens. Now, I don't know about anybody else out there, but the boy that I was when I was 18 is completely different to the man that I am now at 56. I am a completely different person in respects to what I drink, what I eat, what I read, what I watch, where I go on holiday, my aspirations, becoming a parent, becoming a husband. Everything I have changed, and I probably change every 10 years or whatever it is. I am a completely different person. That person at 18 maybe thought he knew everything. He knew nothing because he didn't have life experiences, none at all. What makes us as a man or as a woman? It moulds us, so we become eventually the men and women that we becoming later on in life. So, to make that decision, to dedicate your life at 18 to say, well, I want to be a Jehovah's Witness now, and I will face all the consequences, is not an informed decision. Really it isn't, because at that time, especially when I was 18, you weren't able to do research like anybody now who wants to become a witness. If they can do so much research on the internet now, if another witness came back to them and say, hold on a second, can you explain this, can you explain that, can you explain the other? And the chance of becoming a witness I would have thought, very, very slim, because lots of the things that are online now, Jehovah's Witnesses don't have a comeback, don't have an explanation to. And so, for me to get punished now for a decision that I made when I was 18, when I was just really a youth, when I was just really a boy, not even a man, is just complete nonsense. I shouldn't be held to that decision that I made when I had no experience of life, and I fully really hadn't done any research at all. So that's wrong. And ironically, this thing that my mother's given me grief because the fact that I've gone on and I've done these videos where I've expressed my opinion. At the end of the days, I have not gone down to her house, shut her door, and opened up my iPad and say, you must watch this, and force my mother to watch a video. The videos I put up, anybody can either choose to watch or not watch. I've not asked her to watch this, and I don't ask any other witness to watch my videos. In fact, I don't know any witnesses that probably would watch them anyway. So I've not asked her to watch these. But the thing is, this is what she's going on about, the fact I've turned my back on this organisation and explained why I think it's wrong. But at the end of the day is, Jehovah's Witnesses have no problem at all of going to people's doors and have no respect for the belief of the person behind that door. That person could have been a Catholic for 30 years or whatever it is, and their faith, misguided or whatever, may have kept them going through some real dark times in their life. And the witnesses have no problem with going into them and saying, oh, by the way, I used to say to them, I used to be a Catholic too, but I realised God's not using this organisation, and then saying, this is why, this is my example, this is what I found out, this is what I learned, this is why it's wrong. In other words, you don't respect that person's opinion, you don't care the damage that you will do by telling them that their faith is wrong. You just go ahead and say, I'm right, you're wrong, and that's it. And the thing is, when you go to somebody's door, they haven't invited you to come to the door. Literally, there's a knock on the door. Who could that be? Oh, it's a Jehovah's Witness is going to tell me right now that unless I change to being a Jehovah's Witness, because I'm a Catholic or a Protestant, that at Armageddon, I'm going to die. They're imposing a death sentence on me as because I'm not listening to what they say. Now, you can't have it two ways. You can't. You can't, be in a position where I express my opinions on video, don't force people to watch them, yet I'm in the wrong, yet my mother can go to somebody's door, express her opinions, and tell somebody else they're wrong, but she's not in the wrong because she thinks she's doing the right thing. So in other words, two rights, do they make her wrong? I don't know. At the end of the day, she thinks she's right, I'm thinking I'm right, and I think you should be able to have your own opinion about anything, but at the end of the day still remain still have a relationship. But with Jehovah's Witnesses you can't, because the witnesses are quite clear that once you've been in them, there's no getting away from that organisation. You can't. There's no free pass. You can't get away without there being ramifications which can go on for years and years and years, especially within your family. So that's where we are now at the moment. At the moment, according to my mother, I'm dead. She has another son who's still a witness, and apparently the letter told us they went for a nice holiday in a caravan outside Blackpool somewhere and had a fam dabby dozy time. But at the end of the day is, she's cut me off. I'm not welcome back in her house anymore because of my videos, and it's really sad. It's really sad that somebody that a mother would do that to her son. For a reason, for that reason. There's other reasons to do that, but I don't think this particular reason is a good one. And people who aren't Jehovah's Witnesses who may watch this video will not understand this at all, and it'll make no sense. This is hence why I completely disagree with this religion, especially because if I was a Protestant or a Catholic and all of a sudden I said to Mum and Dad, I'm not going to chapel, I'm not going to church anymore, but decided I don't believe in it, I don't believe in any of it, they wouldn't say, oh, right, okay, I'm sorry son, but you're not welcome at my house anymore because you've expressed your opinion that for instance, you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the Bible, you think it's a lot of nonsense. So you don't dog on my step anymore. If something serious happens, just let me know. But apart from that, we're off limits. That wouldn't happen. But within Jehovah's Witness, unfortunately, this is what does happen. This is why this organisation is so very, very wrong. It does break up families, and it has finally broken up this one. So that's it. It's very sad it's happened, and if my mum is listening to this, Mum, if you want to ring me up or write me another letter, if you want to change your viewpoint, it's I am still here, I am still your son, but at the end of the day is if I've been banned from your house and you don't want to see my son anymore, it is going to be your loss, and it was something that you are going to regret for what's left of your life, that you will miss out on this relationship. I hope you're happy with this, but I know that you're wrong, and that's it. So, sad times.